Alright, in the previous video, you learned to differentiate between prime number and composite number. In this video, we will learn how to express number in index notation. So for example, I have 2. We know 2 is equals to 2 times 1. 4 is equals to 2 times 2. 8 is equals to 2 times 2 times 2. Is there an easier way to actually express this number? Actually, there is. So we say that this is just equals to 2. However, this can be equals to 2 to the power of 2, or what we call the index of 2 is 2. So we call this the index. So first thing you recognize that this term here is actually called the base number. Base because it's like on the ground. This number here is known as the index or the power. Okay, so usually we can say 2 to the power of 2, or the index of 2 is 2. Now make a guess what happens when I have 2 times 2 times 2. Very good. You know that you can write this as 2 to the power of 3, or we say that the index of 2 is 3. Now as to make it simple, we will read it as the first part, which is 2 to the power of something, 3 to the power of something. Alright, now at this point I want you to try what happens when I have a number which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. Example, right? So this is a huge number, and if I were to read like this, it's very troublesome. So is there an easier way to simplify a number and read such that all of us will understand? Pause the video and you try now, and you realize that this is actually look at the 2. There are 3 2's altogether, so we can say this is 2 to the power of 3 times, look at the 3 again, this is 3 to the power of 4 times 5 to the power of 2. So in this case we can shorten the number of numbers we have to write. Now at this point I want you to make a investigation and a conclusion. 2 to the power of 3, is it equals to 2 times 3? Now it's a question mark. So pause the video now and you think about it, and you write down in the blank space of your notes, and then we will discuss in class. Okay, now let's do the next part, which is prime factorisation. Okay, so let's take a look at prime factorisation. Now the idea of prime means it must be prime number. So when we list out a quick list of prime number, we know that the first number starts with 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and so on, right? So let's continue. Now if I look at the first example, why not I try another example, and then you will explore the notes example yourself. Let's start with a random number. Let's say I have 100. Now 100, if I want to express in prime factorisation, that means I want to ask, how can I rewrite this number into something times something times something with a certain power on top. Now let's try using, we call the repeated division, or sometimes we call the ladder method. Now if I divide this by 2, I know that this will be 50. I divide this by 2. So how to understand this is actually a divide sign, divide, right? So it's like 100 divided by 2. Then you write the answer here. And same again, I divide by 2, and then I write the next answer. So this will be 25. Can I divide by 2? As in, can I use 25 to divide by 2? The answer is no, right? So divide by 3, again no. The next number is divide by 5. So when I divide by 5, and I get a 5, I divide by 5 again, I get a 1. Now the idea here is I need to divide until I get a number 1, alright? Then I stop. Now looking at this, you need to understand that all these numbers are actually the factors, which means I can put it over here. Let me write it nicely. 100 is actually equals to 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Use a calculator to check. Then you see that you press this number into your calculator, you actually get back the 100. Okay, let's continue. Now your turn. You want to put this into index notation. You know that this is 2 to the power of 2 times 5 to the power of 2. Sometimes we also shorten the words. When I see the power 2 and 3, we can say 2 square or 2 cube. Alright, so we use the word square to represent the power of 2, and we use the word cube to represent the power of 3. Usually we stop there. So now your turn. Pause the video and try the example in the worksheet and also the self-check in the worksheet.